one thing.
Imagine a fun little montage of me making Connor breakfast, because I think my camera wasn't recording. Sorry. Wednesday, September 20th. Slow morning.
Look how scratched up my watches.
Well, that's what happens to watches when you wear them.
Oh.
Can I talk to you about this thing? Alright, nobody knows about this. A long time ago, like 10 years ago, back before you were born, there was a...
Not even 10 years old, so probably before I was born.
Exactly. That's how the math goes. There was a teacher in a class who decided it would be super fun to collect a bunch of these, secretly glue googly eyes on them, and put them back out on the playground every day, so that when kids were out finding them and fighting over them, all of a sudden they'd pick one up and it'd be looking back at them with googly eyes. And it became like a super cool, funny thing, and it was kind of top secret. I'm wondering if I could glue 2 googly eyes on here to show it to the class at morning meeting, and then maybe start our class doing that thing today. Can you sacrifice this to the googly eyes?
I will.
What do you think? Should we do it? Yes.
Pretty enjoyable working session at World Cup, new favorite coffee shop. Thanks World Cup for the better Wi-Fi. And yeah, of course I spilled my coffee because that's the thing I do. And today I talked to you about my day job and then about Melissa, and today I'm going to talk to you about my son, Connor. Okay, like I mentioned, I want to talk about Connor, but I just got some hoodies in, so I'm gonna go grab those. These are 3 different black hoodies that may or may not be the right size or the right kind or whatever. I'm probably gonna send 2 or all of them back, so I'm gonna see now. Started thinking about having a kid about 1.5 years before Connor was born. Maybe a little bit longer. Basically, we kind of decided we'd like to have a kid. We kind of talked through what that would look like for us and all that kind of stuff. And then we're like, we were trying to have a kid for about 1 year and it didn't work out. Melissa never got pregnant. And we just decided, well, we'll just like not think about that for a while. And, we don't have a kid right now and we'll let that be what it is. I really like this because it's not a zipper. It's a little tight for chubby boy too. Definitely not the one. Of course, a few months kind of after we decided to stop trying, Melissa got pregnant. I think we found out in February 2010, which is, of course, the year Connor was born. He's born in late September. That feels a little bit better. I like the black on black. Critical part is the hood because Portland. Now, marrying Melissa was a huge deal. It has had a massive impact on my life. But Melissa and I deciding to have Connor is the biggest decision I have ever made. Helping and participating, bringing life into the world, and then kind of signing up to be responsible for it for 18 years. Even though marriage is, supposed to be forever and blah, 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 Melissa's an independent person. She can take care of herself. I'm not responsible to make sure she eats. But Connor's different. I'm responsible in partnership with Melissa for everything. Everything about him is going in the good pile. Gosh, I really need to eat a little bit less so I can buy smaller clothes. This is Hanes. This is standard Hanes hoodie. It's really changed how I think about the world, what I do with my time. But honestly, I think I've learned more from him than I've been able to teach him. Much more standard fit, definitely big enough for chubby. Wow, that profile view is attractive. Hood is acceptable. Earlier on in my life, I would have said, I'm gonna teach and train my kid to be like this, or to do this, or become this. I think this is the one. I just don't tell him many things. If there's facts or questions he asks about me or whatever, I do tell him that stuff, of course, but as far as like telling him how or what to think, I very rarely, directly tell him that kind of stuff. I try to ask questions. I try to tell him what I think and shape it around that. We talked a lot about politics and President Trump, and we've talked about what his election means and that kind of thing. And so when I talk about that, I talk about, Donald Trump thinks this. Here's what I think. And that's why, we're doing this or that, or that's why I disagree with that, and stuff like that. When we go to protests, I say, this thing happened. This is how I feel about that. And that's why we're going to this protest. I don't necessarily give him an option usually with that kind of stuff. If I'm going to a protest, it's not really his choice about where to be in that moment, but it definitely is something where I don't tell him necessarily how to feel about it. I just tell him where I'm at, what we're doing, and why we're doing it. That's not something I would have thought I would do earlier in life, but it's definitely something that more and more I appreciate, because I feel like I'm helping him think and helping him learn to become human rather than kind of indoctrinating him with the Josh ideal of how to think about the world. As I get older, I realize that even if I'm right for me, my ideas about how the world works aren't necessarily right for everybody. Perspective is a huge part of how you think about things. And Connor's perspective is going to be drastically different from my perspective. So trying to, make a mini Josh or like a Josh version 2 that's like slightly better than me doesn't make a lot of sense. I think it makes a lot more sense for me to let him become who he's going to become and do my part in shaping his values just by showing him who I am and trying to be honest with him about the world around him. Another thing I'm doing differently than what I would have thought earlier in life is that we're not really indoctrinating him with our spirituality. He goes to church with us. We talk about God quite a bit, Jesus, the Bible, etc. We talk about how to treat others. We talk about our outlook on the world. But I've never told him anything about God or the Bible that I've addressed as a fact. I can tell him what I think and believe, and I can tell him the facts of things, but over time, it's really become apparent to me that because of my shifting beliefs and the way I change my thoughts over time, it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to impugn those things on Connor. I think more than anything, what he's changed in me is how I look at the world, that my perspective is different now. And that can be really amazing, seeing how he's learning about the world, how he's growing as a person, the kind of things he cares about, the things he comes up with on his own. Especially recently, like when he was writing on a sign at a protest that was sort of a protest visual around the violence that happened in Charlottesville, he wrote down love as a right. That is not a thing I've ever said or considered, but that's kind of how he was thinking about things and what he was concerned with. Even more than what I can shape him with, his ability to shape me and tell me things is also, it seems equal. It doesn't seem like I'm giving him something. It feels like he's a gift to me. And I know it sounds shitty and stupid and very hippie of me, but really, he's a gift to me. It's not altruistic to have a kid and take care of them. Connor has been someone that's informed my life for the better. In a lot of ways, it's like Melissa. A partnership is a partnership. And I talked about her yesterday, but I feel like I've gotten so much more than I could give to Melissa. And it's really the same for Connor. I think that I'm a better, more generous, more thoughtful person because he exists and because he has shaped my life in so many ways around love, family, community, rather than solely around myself. Taking care of yourself is a big deal. Mental health's a big deal. Even inside of that, doing that as as a way to take care of the 2 other people that live in my household and for them to take care of me, and then to see how that changes how we interact with people outside of our household and how we can love and be a part of different communities. It's really, it kind of takes you from 0 to 100 real quick, to quote Drake. So saying this stuff out loud has me feeling like the biggest, dumbest, hippie, liberal, whatever. I guess the biggest thing that I've learned since having a kid with Melissa is that I'm a part of a whole. Taking care of myself on behalf of other people is important. That letting them take care of me is important. And then taking care of other people is important. I thought I would cry or like feel overly emotional talking about Connor, but I'm just really happy to be his dad. Being a father has been an amazing experience so far. And early on in life, I thought I would be counting the days until he turned 18 and then kind of I could get back to normal, quote unquote. But it seems to be going too fast. Every new day, every year, as he grows and changes, it's been this new set of experiences that aren't things I want to rush by or move on to new experiences, but really things I want to learn about. I'm probably going to cut all this out because it's really hard to talk about. Anyway, I'm glad my kid is well behaved. How about that?